All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Actually, it's for the first time. This is actually a morning edition of the world's most famous Tri-State podcast. I guess we could kind of call it a Tri-State podcast. This is Jake Schwartz, the world's most famous announcer, better known as The Voice, here on Voice of Reason. It's a great morning again here in Ewing, New Jersey, the west section of Trenton, as we are coming from the Ewing Senior Community Center in beautiful outside of West Trenton, New Jersey. And today is a special day here today. It's Davon Reed Appreciation Day. Now, people are wondering exactly who is Davon Reed. Well, Davon Reed is a man that I have an unbelievable amount of respect for. He's officially the second player in the Mercer County area to officially be drafted by the National Basketball Association. And today, Davon Reed will make his final appearance here in his hometown of Ewing before he takes his talents to the Valley of the Sun. That's right, folks. Davon Reed was the number 32nd pick in this summer's June NBA draft. Taken by the Phoenix Suns again, as mentioned, overall, and he will depart again as he starts his journey. And we remember his days, of course, when he was a member of the Princeton Day School, a 4-year player at the University of Miami in Coral Gables. So he'll go from one warm place, of course, to the next, and he will join us right here. We'll try to, again, we know he's got a limited time scheduled. We know he's got dates. So we're definitely going to try to keep this as short as we can. We'd like to thank, of course, ASM's own Steve Pina for allowing us to interview. Actually, we also brought a souvenir basketball, and this basketball that I bought at, I guess I could say Dick's. It's at Dick's Sporting Goods. Now, we're going to have that basketball, again, as mentioned, signed by Davon Reed. We will hold on to it. That basketball will be signed by Davon himself and will be closed in my room for 3 weeks before Davon, again, as mentioned, before it goes to my best friend's wedding, to John Kramer and Alexandra Rosenwig, who, of course, are getting married on Labor Day weekend, and they happen to be Miami alums. You're welcome, buddy, and it's always a pleasure. But one thing is definitely for certain. Davon is one of 2 Mercer County players. He's going to talk about the long journey, of course, he had. We remember back in the days with the Mary Klein Classic, what he did as a member of, when he was playing on that team. A lot of his friends, actually, are also here today. Maybe we could talk with them as well. Carlton Allen is also here, and we'll try to get a couple of minutes again, as mentioned, with him, and maybe even talk with his little brother, who's also starting his journey at Ewing Township. So again, we'll take a short break. Again, Davon Reed, the man of the hour on Davon Reed Appreciation Day from the Ewing Senior Community Center here in West Trenton, New Jersey. I'm Jake Schwartz. All right, so here at the Ewing Community Senior Center here in Ewing, New Jersey, and I got the agent of ASM Sports for our friend Davon Reed, Steve Pina, my old buddy and partner in crime. I have to think the world of that man. First of all, Steve, always good to see you, and I hear good things about your son Xavier. I hear he's getting taught a lesson by John Lucas out in Houston.
Well, yeah, he's down there working out with John Lucas and Jawan McClellan, who was a McDonald's All-American in Arizona, and just getting a lot, getting a lot bigger and stronger, and doing all those things.
Let's talk about your client, because it's and again, I know there's a lot of legal stuff we're not going to bring into the fold, but we are going to talk about that you have represented some of the best high school players that and you know this as well as anybody, that I've worked with some of the best athletes, and one of them includes, besides Davon Reed, you have among 4 team final players that he played with, from Malachi Richardson to Rakeem Christmas and Trevor Cooney. What does Davon bring to the other team final player that's kind of different from those that you represent?
That's different. I would say that Davon, they all bring something very unique, but they all bring something that I think is quite impressive with team, with team final, which is they all have great character. I think that Davon brings a maturity and a overall team concept that he puts his team goals ahead of individual success in everything that he does, and he's actually been rewarded, because I think that translates with how the NBA is playing now. Sure. To have a guy that can be a 3-and-D guy but can actually do more than that. And he also has the ability he's just a natural born leader. And he takes that and he carries that role very, very well. And he prides himself on it.
And he had a great four-year career at both Princeton Day and at the University of Miami. When you first, I guess, when was the first time you actually got a chance to really watch Davon, whether it was live or I guess on TV?
The first time I watched Davon was at AC Live, I believe it's called.
Live at AC.
Live at AC.
Yep.
Going into his senior season when they played against.
When he was with Final.
When he was with Final, it was him and Rondé Jefferson and a couple other guys, and I got a chance to watch him play and watched him quite a bit at Miami, and just fell in love with his game. And as I saw how his game matured, I could tell that he was a good fit for the NBA style of system that was changing.
He's got the body size and the structure of it. You know that you and I have been going back and forth talking about when we're going to have this chat. And I actually remember one of your other clients, Rakeem Christmas. I had the perfect opportunity to interview him at a I think it was an 87er game, and you actually called me the next day and said, "I told you to get down here. I was going to talk to him." I'm finally taking your word, as they say, and I'm finally down where I belong, interviewing one of your best clients. And guys like Davon Reed certainly deserve the credit. I mean, you just look at the structure and body size. He's going into his first year with the Phoenix Suns. So first of all, is their head coach still Jacques Vaughn? Who is the new? Oh no, it's Quinn Cook, right? Quinn Cook.
No, the coach of the Phoenix Suns is Earl Watson.
That's right, still Earl Watson. The man, of course, responsible for being one of the greatest tiny point guards and running Earl Watson elite in EYBL. What can a guy like Davon learn from Earl?
I think Earl is also a guy that's big on defense and big on leadership. So I think that was one of the things that he really fell in love with Davon at the workouts. I mean, people look at Davon now, but they don't realize this is a guy that started off at Portsmouth, got invited to Chicago, and then wound up being the 32nd pick in the draft and the third senior taken. So I think that his overall maturity and his ability to play multiple positions and guard multiple positions was something that Earl fell in love with, and Ryan McDonough and so forth in the front office staff at Phoenix. And
I think a lot of them had the opportunity to see a guy who really came from being a big-time point guard in New Jersey to being an even better forward in Miami to now being, like you said, it seems like he's going to play the, I would assume, the 3, or he'll play the 2?
He'll play the 2-3.
He will play the 2, and he'll play the 3, though? And what do you think he'll get a lot of good minutes in Phoenix?
I actually do. Do
you think he might start?
I don't think he's going to start.
Not yet.
But you know what? I don't put anything past Davon because he's going to go out there and he's going to fight for. Of course. He's going to fight for everything. Once I got to do this interview, he's fighting for everything that he does, and he's going to be in the mix.
Yeah,
it's going to be hard to keep him off the floor, especially after you saw how he played in Summer League.
Yeah. One last question, because I know you're on a limited time schedule, and I tell this to people all the time, that nobody works harder. The hardest working man, showbiz despite, the one and only the voice, is Steve Pina. There's among many players that I've worked with over the years that are actually on the Suns. Derek Jones is going to be one of them, and had Devin Booker, of course, a couple times. Of the players that I've worked with, who's probably going to be the big standout on Phoenix this year besides Davon? Because I know there's a few.
I would say Josh Jackson is probably going to have a pretty good rookie season.
Absolutely. Seen him, of course, before. One of the smoothest type of people. Well, Steve Pina of ASM Sports, we always appreciate you stopping by. First off, always a pleasure to see you. And your son, Xavier Pina, if he's ever listening to this interview, knows that when he gets back from Houston, he might want to think about hightailing his bony little behind back, because the voice has something cooking for him. Steve, always good to see you, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Thanks a lot,
Steve Pina here on ASM Sport, or from ASM Sports here on Voice of Reason.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. Back here at the Ewing Community Center here in Ewing, New Jersey. Again, a great day outside of West Trenton. And I've got one of the best guests, I think, so far here on Voice of Reason. One of my favorite people, one of my dear buddies, Davon Reed, the number 32 pick in this year's NBA draft, a member of the Phoenix Suns. First off, Davon, congratulations, buddy.
Thank you, boss. Appreciate it.
How you doing, man? It's good to, first off, it's great to see you. We haven't talked to you since, I don't think we've seen you since Princeton Day, your senior year, when you came down to play against Germantown Academy, or it might have been the Mary. What was it? I think the last time. When did you play in the Mary Klein Classic?
Didn't play my senior. I played my junior year.
You did play, and I had the chance actually to come down and take photos of you and really try to, because you know I've tried to get your name out there. Matter of fact, moments ago I received a liking of a tweet from your old coach Adam Fisher, who said, "I really loved the tweet. The voice is in Ewing."
Yes, sir.
So these days, again, we can find you out in the Valley of the Sun. What is the best transition coming from? You come from a great town like Ewing. You're one of two Mercer County players since Malachi Richardson a year ago, and now Davon Reed gets his name out there to go to the NBA. What was the first response, I guess, when you found out you were getting drafted?
Man, just lost for words, just celebrating with my family, so many people around me, just a great feeling, an indescribable feeling.
You know, we go back a very long way to the days that you first walked into Princeton Day, and of course with Coach Paris, who I hear is doing good things as a principal now on the other side of town. How instrumental was he in getting you really out there?
Paris was, always, not just a great coach, but a good figure in my life. Definitely, helped me in the maturing process in high school, and did a lot for me. I'm definitely grateful for that.
I again, saw you at a lot of All-Star games. I remember seeing you, of course, down at Germantown Academy. I think you lit them up for like close to 35 or 36 points. Then you take your talents over again to Miami. What was the best part about playing for a guy like Jim Larinaga?
The best thing about Coach L is his wisdom, just teaching me so much, about the game of basketball, then about life in general. So just being so instrumental, not only for myself but my other teammates on and off the court.
You had a fabulous career over in Miami. I remember, even though I didn't get a chance to talk to you during that time, I was watching all of your games. I never missed a Davon Reed game because, like I said, I have always said he's one of the most unique and one of the most creative type of people. And when you think about a gathering like today, as we kind of translate to the present, what's been the best part about Davon Reed Day?
Rather than focus on it being my day, just want to give back to the community. Yes. And just give back to a community that supported me for so long, and I'm just grateful for that as well.
And now here we come to today with the 32nd pick in the 2017 NBA draft. And I sound probably better than Adam Silver, I think, when I do that. These Phoenix Suns select Davon Reed. And you remember I was calling you Davon Reed. I think it was actually the first year I was referring to you as Davon Reed. You kept telling me, no, it's Davon voice. It's Davon. What's going to be the next objective? Had a great summer out in Phoenix. You'll play alongside, and there's actually of many of the teams that I've worked with, the players who have been drafted through me, the Phoenix Suns probably have the most of players from Josh Jackson, Derek Jones, Devin Booker. What's going to be kind of the, because I brought this up with your agent Steve Pina moments ago, what's going to be the best part about being in that rotation?
I think that, with us being one of the youngest teams, if not the youngest team in the NBA, just a chance to grow together and kind of, come into our own and hopefully make some history and change the face of the franchise. So that's what I'm most looking forward to.
Talk about that one moment in basketball and all the years you've ever, I guess, been playing this game. Is there one moment that you remember, I guess, from your past all the way up until now?
I think before the actual game, my last college game at home, senior night, before the actual game.
What'd you have, like 30?
No, I didn't even.
You really?
It was a good game. We won. We beat Duke, but before the game, seeing the ovation of the crowd, just everybody embracing me and just getting that response of the crowd was a great feeling.
And how about your brother? He's going into his senior year at Ewing. He's got to deal with the voice at least one more year. A member of the Reed family's got to go through the voice.
Yeah.
What will that be like?
hopefully he stays poised, and I'm looking forward to him having a big year this year.
Well, we know you're on a limited time schedule, but we definitely want to thank you for stopping by. Davon Reed, the number 32 pick of the NBA draft from the Phoenix Suns, I should say from the pride of Ewing, New Jersey, one of my favorite guests so far, one of my favorite students I've ever had over the years. We thank you again for stopping by, and we wish you the best, and we'll definitely catch up with you hopefully during the season.
Thank you.
Davon Reed again, and Steve Pina on another edition of Voice of Reason. Hopefully more guests here on the award-winning high school and college sports show, Voice of Reason. All right, as we finish up our day here at Davon Reed Day at the Ewing Senior Community Center, and it's a pleasure to be joined by another one of my favorite guests and one of my dearest friends in the New Jersey area, the pride of Life Center at Manhattan, and I hear Lincoln these days, Carlton Allen. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
It's good to see you, as always. It's always a pleasure whenever you and I get together, because you have to think about all the times we ever played one-on-one and you got dunked on.
Oh, man, you talking good game.
You remember that time when I actually came out to the Bronx or Bronxville, and I had to take 3 different trains, and you saw me actually out in Manhattan,
yeah, I saw
and you thought oh my God, the voice is in the building. Yeah. Now how the heck did he get out of here? We're a PG site. What is it like to support a good buddy, a brother of yours? Because I know you and Davon Reed are very close friends. What has that been like, having a guy like him in your as a part of your life?
It's been incredible. I mean, seeing him achieve his dreams, making the NBA, is just a motivation, making me want to get there myself. Yeah. It's a lot of fun seeing him do his thing, going to Phoenix, getting to train with the best guys, playing against the top competition. It's an incredible experience.
He mentioned that this is one of the youngest, if not the youngest team in all of the NBA. Josh Jackson, Derek Jones, and the list certainly could go on. Devin Booker, and I try to tell people this. I say, Davon could get some valuable as much as valuable minutes, if not maybe starting by the end of the year.
I think definitely Davon has a great opportunity to play this year. I mean, unfortunately, with the injury to Brandon Knight and his ACL
and that
tear,
hurts.
There's minutes that open up, so he definitely has a chance to shine and show that he can.
Well,
play.
let's talk about your story. You're headed these days. What is Carlton Allen doing these days?
I have a couple tryouts with a couple Gatorade League teams.
Do you believe that? I always thought that to myself that would Carlton Allen ever have his way in the G League, you could even beat the voice or lay up the Voices jock strap in one-on-one, if that's right.
That sounds good to me, man.
No. No, talk about that, though. What are the tryouts, the teams that are coming up for you?
Well, I worked out in front of the GM for the Grand Rapids Drive.
Okay.
I got a chance to work out in front of Coach McKenna, who was the coach of Texas Defenders.
Yeah.
And he liked what he's seen, so he invited me back to work out.
He's definitely, because there's a lot of great coaches that are out there in the D League that always bring the unique type of style. Now, if you ever get a chance to work out for the Fort Wayne Madouts, make sure you give regards to Jaron Jackson, because Jaron actually is the color commentator, and I can guarantee you that if you see a guy like him, he knows a thing or two about talent, and he knows bigs, because you're definitely, when you were playing for your days at Wilson Arroyo, you had that potential of being you knew you were going to be D1 guy. What was that like playing for Wilson?
Well, I spoke with. I didn't get a chance to play with Wilson. I played it under Purvis.
That's right. Yeah. So I thought you were with Wilson, but you were with Wilson. I thought 1 year.
No, I never met.
Really?
I never. Played I came next year.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? I think I remember, because the year he left, you were playing for Purvis. That was the first year I started bad-mouthing you, right?
Yeah.
Now, how long have I officially been bad-mouthing you?
For a few years now.
For a few years.
now.
I said that same thing I said the same thing to Davon Reed, and he doesn't believe anything I say either, though. No, you know what? But like I said, you've got some great tryouts. It sounds like coming up. What is the goal for you?
The ultimate goal in the end is to make the NBA. That's the ultimate goal.
And you feel like you're this much closer, though.
I definitely feel that I have a good chance of making the NBA.
Well, you've come a long way from Life Center to Manhattan, and then, of course, you had great years at Lincoln. What was that like working under Steve Masiello?
Coach Mass is a great guy who really knows what he's doing. I really learned a lot from what he was doing, from what he did for me, and I'm very appreciative, and that's really a dear friend of mine to this day.
Well, we're appreciative of you, Carlton Allen, for joining us here at Voice of Reason. It's always good to see you. Best wishes again. And like I said, it's so good to see you, and we'll definitely catch up with you.
No problem.
Carlton Allen again here on another edition of Voice of Reason. I still think I'm better than him. I'm Jake Schwartz again here at the Ewing Senior Community Center. All right, let's go get some. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here outside the Ewing Senior Community Center. Jake Schwartz again for the world's famous podcast, Voice of Reason, serving the tri-state area in Philadelphia, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, and all many other places. And today, right outside here, just an hour or so ago, we celebrated Davon Reed Day. And what that means is Davon Reed, the official 32nd pick of the this year's NBA draft, will officially start his new journey. He actually leaves officially tomorrow, where he will make his new home in Phoenix, Arizona. We wish him nothing but the best. And, of course, once a year, Davon will come down to the East Coast and play play in places like Philadelphia or even in New York, where he'll get to play in games at the Wells Fargo and Madison Square Garden. But the most important thing we're learning is that anything is certainly possible. If you can dream it, as they say, you can certainly do it. And Davon certainly lived proof of that. We remember going back to his days as a member of Princeton Day School, as a member of the Miami Hurricanes. And now, for at least the first time in his career, he will dress this coming October as a member of the Valley of the Sun, the Phoenix Suns. I want to thank Davon again, as mentioned, for joining us here today. I want to thank Carlton Allen, who also is going through a little bit of a journey. The former Life Center and Lincoln player has been going through a bunch of G League tryouts. As you all know, the NBA D League is G League. Again, we wish him nothing but the best. Want to thank, of course, ASM Sports, his agent, Davon, that is, agent Steve Pita, for giving us his 2 cents. One of 4 team final players, by the way, in case anybody was wondering, as far as like who he's represented. A lot of great names again. And among the 4 names that Davon played with in team final, Rondé Hollis Jefferson, he has not represented him, but he has represented names like Raheem Christmas and Trevor Cooney and Malachi Richardson, who was also the second Mercer County player to have been drafted a year ago in the second round by the out of the Western Conference, the Sacramento Kings. So again, great week again coming up. Lou Leonard basketball camp over at the Happy Hollow Rec Center. We'll be back at Lincoln Financial Field, the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of good events again. Also, King of Philadelphia tomorrow night. Some of the Philly Pride will play in the doubleheader type of edition, and we will definitely be at Imhotep Charter starting at 5:30 tomorrow night, going on into about 8 o'clock. That should be a great night again. And we also will have a special edition of Voice of Reason's coverage of Arena Bowl 30. 1 week from tonight, the Philadelphia Soul will defend their title. Who they're going to play, we're going to let you again know, because we haven't really had a chance to pay attention, but we're definitely going to keep our eyes out, as we'll be at the Wells Fargo Center, of course, over the next week or so. So until then, from all of us here at the Ewing Senior Community Center, I'm Jake Schwartz for another edition of Voice of Reason. We'll talk to you, of course, this weekend. Good night, everybody.